Hey guys, Mike here. So another day, and guess what? Another green day. Okay, so market continues to grind higher. Again, we'll go into a lot of different stocks, and some are breaking out. Some look like they have more room to run. All that fun stuff. Apple finally got an AI announcement. I don't think it was the AI announcement people were looking for, which is really funny. So we're definitely going to talk about that one. For sure, the S&P is doing something, but it hadn't quite done it yet. It hadn't achieved it yet. And again, we talked about it, I think, in Saturday's video. Somebody asked about it, so we'll go over that real quick. The Qs has accomplished this, which is maybe one reason you see things grinding higher and stuff. But again, we'll go into a lot of different things. Also, we're going to have a good laugh at a Donald Trump tweet that he put out to Jerome Powell. I've never seen anything like this before in my life, where he literally did a handwritten message to him. Okay, and I'm going to show you that if for anything else a good laugh, but we'll also update like what is the Fed projections. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll look at all this right here. This was hilarious. It was on Truth Social. I think that's his press secretary holding this up, and it says World Central Bank rates, and there is the handwritten note, which will zoom in here, and it says should be here right here, like 1.75 or lower, and it says Jerome, you're as usual too late, in quotation marks. You have cost the USA fortune and continue to do so. You should lower the rates by a lot. Hundreds of billions of dollars being lost. No inflation. And then a sign, that's Donald Trump's signature right there. And you can see where it has the United States number 35.5, and then only people below us, which higher rates, or the same rate, excuse me, Cameroon, Norway, Israel, and a couple others, right? And so, and I thought this was an interesting tweet here from Charlie Bolello, and he says, so you got stocks at all-time highs, home prices at all-time highs, Bitcoin's all-time highs, money supply at all-time highs. He's referring to the M2 money supply, which is correct. National debt's all-time highs and climbing. CPI inflation averaging 4% per year since 2020, double the Fed's target. I'm not sure where you got the 4% from, because it has been coming down, but it's still higher than what their goal is. And then Fed expect to cut rates 3 times by year end. And this is actually true. They're not expected to cut in July. As you can see, it's 82% stay the same. This could change, of course, but so far to stay the same. But when you look at September, October, and December, yes, that's when they're expecting 3 rate cuts in a row, and also projecting like 6 for next year. And so again, we'll go through all these areas. September, October, they're expecting another cut, as we can see right here, barely. And then December, they're expecting another cut. So, you know, we'll see if that's going to happen. And it just so happens to coincide when what everybody's expecting when we come into like Q3 earnings, Q4 earnings, this area, people are expecting a slowdown, okay? If you were in, you know, why? One, because the rates are higher. They still haven't been able to grind the economy down yet, but they're expecting unemployment to start rising on a double combination. One is what the president and everybody's talking about here is rates staying high, and obviously you still see small, medium companies. These are the companies that suffer under the rates, not the large Metas and Apple. They actually make money off rates being as high. I showed you like 2 years ago the interest they get off and all other stuff. So that's one reason. 2 has to do with just AI continue to roll out, and all these companies keep warning, right? We're going to keep trying to press and lay off and all this other stuff. So there's this combination happening. So and plus, you know, everything got front run supposedly. So by the time third and fourth quarter rolls around, we should have all the letters out to all the countries, excuse me. We should know whatever the trade deals are going to be by then, whatever the tariff rates are going to be by then. And we're going to see, obviously, what happens. A lot of people are predicting more of a slowdown. Plus, let's be real, August, September, for those who don't know, are usually pretty rough months anyway in the market. November is supposed to be usually one of the best, that in July. So again, it's going to be fun times going ahead, to say the least. Okay, so just buckle up for all that fun stuff. But when you look at the market, you know, I don't know, what are 1, 2, 3, like 6 days in a row or something, green right now. You can see it's working on this golden cross right here. That's the 50 crossing the 200. It has not happened yet. I told you on Saturday's video, to happen at all-time highs is very rare, okay? Usually it happens when you're coming out of a crash. We came out of a 20%, but because we recovered so fast, you're starting to get it. Again, it has a completing at there. And a lot of times when it happens, don't be surprised if you get a sell down when it happens. That has been seen many times, either going sideways or selling down versus just going skyrocketing up because you got the cross, okay? And now the fact it's happening at all-time highs means what? Well, there's no resistance up here, right? It's just, do we get overextended or not? And are people going to continue to FOMO into a lot of different stocks, as you're seeing? And some of those we'll go through and look at. or do we start seeing rotation out of some of those ends and laggers? But again, this wasn't even a 20% drawdown. You saw the fake golden cross, right? Remember, 50 has to get above it, right? And then, of course, when it crosses, we're not at all-time highs right here. When this actually happens, we end up getting like a 3-4% sell down right there. And it gets choppy as heck, and then we start to proceed forward. And so, again, most golden crosses that you look at, 'cause there's not many of them, as I've showed you, happen way down, okay? And you got a big move back up. And so I'm definitely going to be tracking this one to see. I think somebody said it was 98 or 2001 where they saw the last one and shared some data with me on that. So, again, that has to complete. The Qs, you can see that's a golden cross. That clearly has crossed up. I think it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is it, 7, 8 straight green days now. And so, it's interesting to have it up this high because, again, no resistance, right? So usually you have resistance levels to start going through, but that just isn't the case right now. And so, again, if we see any weakness, then just watch for the previous all-time high, which we're not that far above, especially in the S&P, to just hold or come down just slightly below it and then turn back up. That's what you're looking for on this if that happens. I've showed you on many stocks where you'll break out and then you'll come back and retest that previous all-time high. People are really looking for a 50 SMA retest, but that can take a long time. That 50 is way down there, dude, because this move's been so fast up, and so the 50 has to catch up. How does it do that? We start consolidating more. At some point in time, we start consolidating and let these moving averages start to catch up. If you look at every golden cross, sometimes you get a 50 within the first 30 days. Sometimes it can take months to even retest the 50 SMA, which is a normal thing to see. And then usually you'll start riding the 50 up, okay? So it just has to play catch up. Apple, hey, they might have mentioned something about AI. Yes, they did. They said, guess what? We don't know what we're doing. Apple Wade's using Anthropic or OpenAI to power Siri in major reversal because them and their engineers cannot figure it out. And the market seemed to have loved that. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And that's why I'm saying, let's see if these gains even hold, because to a company like this to say, we don't know what the hell we're doing and have to go outside after spending, I don't know how much money trying to figure this out and couldn't get it done. We'll see if it holds. Again, it has the whole 201, 202 area right there. As we talked about, you can see these gaps, right? 210 to 212. Once you power past that, you got this gap to fill between like 214 and 220. That's the two targets, okay? So we're going to see if they're going to want to hold this or not. But I got to tell you, I've never been much of an Apple fan. I've never held that back. I always said, I guess maybe they just rested on their laurels or something, but it was always about the stock buybacks and increasing the dividend. But I'm telling you now, with that, if I'm on the board of directors, oh man, I'm escorting Tim Cook out the door, and especially the engineers and whoever hired all the engineers, because that's a shame for a company who was known for innovation back in the day, right, with the original founder. And now all of a sudden, like, you're known for just putting better cameras and iPhones. The last thing you tried to roll out was those stupid goggles for an obscene amount of money, and everybody laughed you out the door, and it was a debacle. And now you got to try to say, we might have to go outside the company to get this done. Really? That's crazy. And then I showed you versus Microsoft and Amazon, like compared to what the revenue is. You compare CapEx to the revenue, they're nowhere close. They actually peaked and started coming down on that, while Microsoft and Amazon just been skyrocketing up. You got to think yourself, what is the board rate's been doing? Has nobody looked at here and said, how far behind are we? And when you get behind like this, it's not a good thing when you're a tech company to not be able to innovate. And eventually your customers, hopefully, and my wife will be one of them, gets tired of saying, look, it's a thinner iPad. It's a thinner laptop, which I appreciate. I'm sitting here right in front of one. That's nice and everything. It's a better camera on the phone. And maybe maybe that's why they can't attract the right engineers, the top engineers. That's what they need is the top engineers. Maybe that's why, because the top engineers who actually have choices go, I don't want to do that for phones and iPads and stuff, dude. Like, I want to make robots, supercomputers. I want to do the cool, like, cutting edge stuff. You guys are in the past, and it's sad. Don't mean the stock ain't go up. I mean, it's just, we've seen that with Apple, again, one of the most heavyweight stocks in all ETFs in the world. So it doesn't just stop like that, right? But I got to think, when Warren Buffett cut his exposure so much, yeah, probably had to do evaluation, but I'm sure his people were like, as many shares as they own, they had a lot of insight in that company. We're probably going, dude, I think these guys are behind, man. And it's obviously showing. If they have to go outside and get this done, whew, that is not a good thing. Not a good thing at all, man. Like I said, I'd be escorting those folks out. Take your billions and go. We got to get somebody with some fire in their belly who's going to come in here and try to get this thing done, and you ain't it. So anyway, let me know what you think about that. I'm just curious. Now, Tesla here real quick. I'll make this very quick. You see another one's trying to form a golden cross. But you can see it's just been coming down, 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 down. Obviously, we got deliveries. Supposedly on Wednesday on the economic calendar, it said Tuesday, but usually they do it on the 2nd. And you can see now, if it starts to break this right here, again, I think this is where the deliveries will decide which way we go, and I'll show you why. But that 304.31 is definitely looking more favorable because it's going to fall right into that gap. And you know when Tesla either rises in gaps or falls in gaps, it can go very, very, very quickly. And again, that's your two draws right there. That big box below, 298 to 308 are right above there. Anywhere from like 224 to 232, actually 229 to 232. But when you look what I'm talking about, when I talk about this delivery numbers, they usually report on the 2nd, and we start going back and looking at some of these delivery number dates and everything. And I'm just going to try to type this. April 2nd is what it should be. So I'm going to go to the hourly, or actually the 15 minutes. So you can see what I'm talking about. It's the opening that gives you this really, really like big move. And you can see usually it's like a 5 to like 10% move and a gap up or down. The last 3 have been gap downs. And so again, this one recovered very quickly. But again, it was a 6% gap down right there before recovering. And then we'll come down and we'll go to January 2nd is when they recorded the 4th quarter. And you can see another gap down right here. And so again, not good. And they're expecting, these numbers to be horrific, to be honest with you. So, don't be surprised. And this is a really big move down on Tesla right here. It was almost completely around 8-9% down right there before making a nice recovery. And you can see another gap down right there. And then if we go to the previous one before this one, again, that's a 7% move where you finally get some kind of little move back up. But the previous one before this one, because this was when they were actually doing good on numbers, the numbers were better, and they had a really, really nice gap up right here, as you can see. And again, when Tesla gets moving up, it gets to moving up, baby. Okay, and again, big multi-day move, but you had a big, almost 10% gap up right there in the first 30 minutes. And then you can see the rest of the days. I mean, that was a huge move going from 190 to 270 in like 5 days. I mean, that was just enormous. And so again, why not expect the same thing? They're expecting a big drop in these numbers. So we'll watch that. When you come over here, SMCI came up. We mitigated this week of fair value gap right here. I told you that would be the draw. Got it to the penny, sold down from there. Also, there's trend line. So that's what I always like to look for is some confluence. And so will it finally break above this to pull an AMD? This is a SMCI chart. I'm talking about SMCI. Somebody argued with me this last time. But again, it looks like AMD chart, right? You just saw Intel do it where it broke out of this trend line. So again, this has been going back to January 2024. We're going to see if this is going to bull flag up. I don't know if it's going to come down and fill that gap right there. Again, if the market shows weakness, the Qs finally get a pullback and not like I don't know what is a 20th green day or whatever, then we'll definitely fill that gap for sure. But if not, that's what I'm waiting for. To break like 51.23-ish, 51.20, somewhere in there is what I want to see. And if that happens, then you can finally see a squeeze on this one for sure. There's no doubt about it. You come over to a few others like Snow, for example. Watch this one. It came up, it filled a gap, but it still has room up to like 233, 234 right there. Actually, I say 230, 233 would be a better number, but it's been a huge move. And I can say all day long, these need to pull back, but that don't mean they're going to pull back, right? I mean, these should have been pulled back. And right now, it's like you're getting this FOMO all over the place. People driving stuff up, so we enjoy the ride. The trend is up, but that is a crazy move for Snow, 87%, 63 days. If you go ahead and count the weeks, I think it's like 13 straight weeks, but I think it's like 2 red weeks in that and then 11 green weeks. And so, again, it filled that gap to the penny. That's where it kind of stalled out right there. Could make another push up. If it comes down, just watch that 0.79 fib for the bounce right there. You can see right around like 213, 215. If it's going to get it or not. You look at Disney is another one, which is obviously not a tech stock, which is nice to see, right? Because everybody's buying into tech. But when you look over at this one, it also has room to move up to at least 128. If that breaks, 132.61. If it comes back down around 121 right there, to hold is what you're looking for on this one. If that breaks around 116.79 below that. And of course, there's Hood, as we talked about. I mean, look at that candle. Whew, got the all-time highs. Remember, this is not only fintech, it is getting a drive up from opening, a crypto platform. And so it's getting crypto and fintech obviously coming into this thing, or at least the volume coming into this thing, which is enormous. And so, we go to a daily on this. This is what we talked about. It was kind of flagging, and then it just exploded out. They had some event today kind of launching that as well. And so if this one does happen to come back down, we'll talk about that in a second. But I want you to look at the volume on this thing. I usually don't look at volume, but this one was so crazy I had to look at it. And you can see that big bar down below there. And as far as I know, I think that's the most volume it's ever had. Looking at this when I kind of scroll back, and so just an enormous amount of volume. And again, if we happen to come back down off this big move, which I think most people would actually enjoy seeing, I would definitely be looking for the discount anywhere from like 84 to 88 right there if it comes back down. And so that'll put in the discount window. It'll be mitigating, I should say, part of that 4-hour fair value gap. And so that will be something to definitely look at on Hood, which I think you'd probably see a push up to 100 from there. And again, it might just keep going though. I mean, it's absolutely going insane right now. When it comes to data here, guys, you got Flash manufacturing PMI, ISM manufacturing PMI, JOLTS job opening, which is going to be a big one, ISM manufacturing prices, and construction spending. So thanks for all who watch. Please hit that like, subscribe button. Really appreciate you guys. Think about signing up with the membership, less than McDonald's combo, and that's everything you get with it. Only $7.99 a month. Just hit the link down in the bottom of the description. It's the Patreon link right there. And I'm seeing you guys tomorrow for another fun one. Have a good one.